When Jungkook is attacked during a live stream, accused of leeching off Taehyung's fame, one shocking moment changes everything and silences the hate. "You're nothing without Taehyung." The comment flashed across the screen, a digital bullet, hitting Jungkook right in the chest before he even had the chance to breathe. The ring light glared against his tired eyes. The soft whir of the AC was the only other sound besides his voice, strained, cracking at the edges. His fingers trembled slightly as he held his phone, pretending not to read what was flooding the chat. "Thanks for being here tonight, Army," he smiled, but it barely touched his eyes. The comments poured in, relentless and acidic. "Talentless pretty face. You're just here because of Taehyung. Deadweight. The weakest link in BTS." His jaw tensed. He let out a soft chuckle that didn't sound like him. Not anymore, that he wasn't sure when started. Maybe after his solo release, when people began comparing instead of listening. Maybe it was always there, a low hum of doubt that had finally found its voice online. But tonight, they brought their poison straight to his doorstep. He'd promised himself he wouldn't cry. Not on camera. Not for them, that a message, in bold font with hundreds of likes, rose to the top again. "BTS doesn't need you. Taehyung made you." He went still. A beat passed, and then a chime. A second screen split the live stream. V has joined the live. Everything stopped. The chat stuttered, as if the air had been sucked out of the virtual room. Jungkook's breath hitched. His throat tightened. The light from his screen flickered against his damp cheeks. "Hyung." His voice cracked. Taehyung's face appeared, half-shadowed but unmistakably calm. That serene, deadly kind of calm he only wore when he was truly furious beneath the surface. "I wasn't going to say anything," Taehyung said, voice low, slow, and clear. "But this is getting ridiculous." The silence in the chat was thunderous. He continued. "You think he's only here because of me? Because of my light?" He leaned slightly forward. "Then you have no idea who I would have become if he didn't pull me back from the edge more than once." Jungkook's eyes widened. He wasn't expecting this. Not like this. Taehyung didn't look at him. He looked straight into the lens, into the eyes of every single person watching. "He's not riding on anyone's back," he said. "He is the backbone." The words landed like punches, quiet, precise, lethal. "Say what you want about me. But if you hate him, you don't love us. You never did." And just like that, Taehyung left the stream. No goodbyes. No dramatic exits, just silence. Jungkook sat frozen. The flood of hate had stopped, replaced with stunned comments, apologies, emojis, people scrambling to change the narrative. But it was too late. He stared at the now black split screen. His reflection shimmered on the phone's dark glass. His lips trembled, but he didn't speak. He didn't need to. Outside, Seoul buzzed quietly beneath the night sky, indifferent to the wars being waged in hearts and comment sections. Inside, Jungkook sat with a storm inside his chest, and a truth he could no longer ignore. And somewhere else, behind another screen, a figure leaned back in a chair and typed a single sentence into a hidden chat room. The trigger worked. Phase 2 begins now. As the hate dies down, Jungkook uncovers signs of a larger scheme. And the people pulling the strings aren't just strangers. Some wear familiar faces. The night after the live stream was unnervingly quiet. No calls. No texts. Not even from the group chat. Jungkook lay awake, staring at the ceiling of his apartment, the blue glow of unread notifications flickering on his nightstand like a warning light. His mind kept looping through Taehyung's voice, the way he had looked into the camera. Not just protective, but calculated. It wasn't like him. Taehyung had always protected Jungkook quietly, with presence rather than words. But tonight felt like a statement, and that scared him. The next morning, his phone buzzed violently. A message popped up from Jin. "What the hell happened last night? That live is all over the news." Jungkook exhaled and didn't respond. Instead, he opened Twitter. The trending tab had mutated overnight. Hashtag "We'll love you Jungkook." Hashtag "V defends Jungkook." Hashtag "Magne Power," and a swarm of hashtags that sang praises instead of venom. Too perfect, too sudden. He opened a private browser and typed in the name he swore he'd never search again. A truth_band account was still up. A cesspool of theories, lies, doctored images, most targeting him. But something had changed since last night. A new post. Pinned. What happens when the puppet learns he's on strings? The show gets interesting. Stay tuned. Below it, a cropped screenshot from his live stream. His teary eyes split beside Taehyung's cold glare. Captioned, "The facade is cracking." Jungkook's stomach twisted. His skin went cold. He wasn't paranoid. Someone was orchestrating this. And they had access to footage no fan should have been able to record that fast. A high-res screen capture like that wasn't just a rewatch, it was live-sourced, which meant they were inside. By the time he got to the HYBE building, the air felt like frost. Staff whispered as he passed. A few smiled tightly, the kind of smile people give a funeral guest. He ignored them. Taehyung was already there, sitting in the corner of the studio with headphones on, eyes closed. Jungkook stepped in and closed the door behind him. "You didn't text back," he said quietly. Taehyung pulled off one ear cup but didn't smile. "Didn't think you'd want to talk." "I didn't," Jungkook admitted. "But I need to ask you something." Taehyung raised an eyebrow. "Why did you join the live when you did? How did you even know what was happening?" Taehyung didn't answer immediately. He set the headphones down carefully like they were fragile. Then he looked up, gaze unreadable. "I got a message," he said. "An anonymous DM. It said he needs you now. Sent with a timestamp from the live." Jungkook's chest tightened. "And you didn't think that was weird?" "I thought you were breaking," Taehyung replied softly. "I didn't care where the message came from." Jungkook swallowed hard. His voice dropped. "I think someone wants us to break." Taehyung's eyes darkened. "What are you saying?" "I think someone's manipulating both of us. Feeding narratives. Controlling what fans see. Turning the fandom into weapons." He looked around. And they're not doing it alone. They're doing it from inside. A beat passed between them. Full of silence. Full of unspoken years. Then Taehyung did something unexpected. He stood, walked to the studio desk, and pulled open a drawer. From inside, he handed Jungkook a USB. "What's this?" "Security feed," Taehyung said. "From the server room. I took it 3 days ago." Jungkook stared at him. "You knew?" he whispered. Taehyung didn't blink. "I suspected." Their eyes locked. And in that moment, they both understood. This wasn't about hate. This wasn't even about fame. It was about control. And someone was playing God with their lives. Back at his apartment, Jungkook plugged in the USB. The files were rough, encrypted, but one clip stood out. Camera 6, 2:37 a.m., 2 nights ago. The footage was grainy, but clear enough that a person, hooded fast, clearly familiar with the building, slipped into the server room. No alarm, no resistance. They moved to the main terminal, connected a small device, typed something, waited. Then they turned slightly toward the camera. The lighting caught a sliver of their face. Jungkook leaned in, his breath caught that he knew that face. The screen went black. Elsewhere, in a room lit only by monitors, the same hooded figure watched the stream again. Rewound. Paused. They smiled. "Let's see what the golden boy does next." A new file uploaded. Target, Taehyung. Phase 2, discredit. Divide, destroy. Jungkook recognizes the masked intruder. But when he confronts the truth, it threatens to shatter not just his trust in others, but his grip on himself. The room was too quiet. Jungkook stared at the monitor, frozen. His breath fogged the screen slightly. And for a second, the image of that face, partially illuminated, fleeting yet undeniable, blurred into smoke. But he'd seen it, that he knew it. He hit pause. Rewind. Freeze frame. Even grainy, even half-turned, it was unmistakable. Yoongi, not a lookalike. Not deepfake. Not some manipulated nonsense Twitter was so fond of throwing around. It was him. Same jawline, same scar above the brow from the 2019 Tokyo incident, same chain he never stopped wearing. The USB slipped from Jungkook's hand and clattered onto the desk. A cold sweat broke across his neck. This had to be wrong. Yoongi couldn't be part of this, but the image was still there, mocking him that he didn't sleep that night. Instead, he paced the studio, heart hammering. Over and over, he tried to piece it together. Why would Yoongi sneak into the server room? Why cover his face? Why access HYBE's internal system? And more importantly, Why now? Unless he wasn't trying to expose anything. Unless he was trying to plant something at 18 noon the next day. Jungkook met Taehyung in the back lot of a nondescript building in Gangnam. The sun was harsh and white, casting sharp shadows over their faces. I saw the footage, Jungkook said, cutting straight in. Taehyung had that look again, tight-jawed, unreadable. And it's Yoongi. Silence. Taehyung didn't look surprised. I thought it might be, he said quietly. Jungkook stepped back. You knew. I suspected. Taehyung exhaled. But it doesn't make sense. Exactly, Jungkook said. Which is why we need to find out what he was doing. Without confronting him, Taehyung added, slowly. Not yet. Jungkook frowned. Why not? Because if he isn't behind it, Taehyung said, and we accuse him, we tear everything apart ourselves. And if he is, then it's already too late. Jungkook finished. They spent the next few days digging quietly, deleting messages, scrubbing traces of their search history, asking indirect questions through trusted contacts. A few old managers, one former tour security guy, and one name kept coming up, Mirror Nation, an underground network. Not a fandom, not even a hate group. .it was something else. They didn't operate on platforms. They controlled them. They didn't post, they manipulated. They planted seeds and let others water them. Fan wars? Controlled. Leaks? Fabricated. Cancel trends? Paid for. And somehow, somewhere inside that tangled web of wires and lies, Min Yoongi's name was connected. Not directly, not publicly, but behind a locked access point in a network log. Taehyung's contact decrypted. There it was. Unit S_93, access level, admin. Jungkook stared at the screen. Why would he have admin privileges? He whispered. It's like he helped build it. Taehyung looked shaken for the first time since this began. Unless he didn't, he said. Unless someone's using his name. Or he tried to take it down from the inside, Jungkook said slowly. And failed. That night, Jungkook finally worked up the courage to message him. Hyung, can we talk? Just us. Pleased. And no reply. Not for an hour. Not for 3. But then at 2:14 a.m., a response pinged in. Come to the rooftop. Don't bring Tae. The wind on the HYB rooftop was brutal. Jungkook zipped his hoodie all the way up and waited, his nerves jangling like broken piano wires. The city lights below sparkled indifferently. Footsteps. Yoongi appeared from the stairwell, dressed in black, hood up, eyes unreadable. Hyung, Jungkook started, his voice tight. I saw the footage. Yoongi didn't blink. I figured you would. Jungkook's heart dropped. So it's true, he said. You were in the server room. You accessed MirrorNet. Yoongi nodded once. Yeah. It hit like a punch. What? Yoongi walked past him to the edge, looking out over the skyline. Because I built it, he said simply. Jungkook stared, unable to breathe. You what? Yoongi turned back to him, eyes heavy with something deeper than guilt. Not all of it. Just a shell. Years ago, before it was called Mirror Nation. Before it became what it is. What? Jungkook asked, barely able to say the word. Yoongi's voice cracked slightly. I was trying to control the narrative. Back in 2020, after the Seoul leak, I thought if we could guide public perception, bend it before it bent us, I could protect all of you. Jungkook's stomach twisted. You weaponized our fans. I didn't mean to. Yoongi closed his eyes. But someone took it, rewired it, turned it into something else. Jungkook's voice dropped to a whisper. Who? Yoongi opened his eyes. And the name he said made Jungkook step back like he'd been slapped at a name they both thought was gone, forgotten, buried. Namjoon. Jungkook uncovers the terrifying truth. Namjoon's ghost still controls Mirror Nation. But is he a traitor or a martyr in a war BTS never saw coming? You're lying. Jungkook's voice cracked in the cold rooftop air. Yoongi didn't flinch. I wish I was, he said. The name echoed like a curse in Jungkook's head. Namjoon. Their leader. Their Hyung. The mind, the compass, the anchor. Gone off-grid 2 years ago after stepping away from public life. No official goodbye. No statement. Just disappeared. And now, here he was again. Not in the flesh, but as the shadow behind the world trying to destroy them. Yoongi explained everything in a quiet, exhausted voice. How Namjoon had gone dark in 2023 to protect them from the inside. How he had discovered Mirror Nation being twisted into a tool for mass manipulation. And how, after trying to shut it down, he chose exile. Not to escape, but to hide in plain sight and pull the wires. He's not trying to hurt us, Yoongi said. He's trying to wake us up. By destroying me? Jungkook shot back. He thinks the world loves a lie. That the only way to kill it is to burn it down. Taehyung didn't take it well. When Jungkook told him, he stood frozen for a long moment, the tension around his mouth hardening. He's sick, Taehyung finally said. If he thinks he's doing this for us, he's delusional. But Jungkook wasn't so sure, because over the next few days, things started surfacing. Old footage, real footage, leaked messages, internal memos, emails from 2020 and 2021, HYBE PR plans, comments from higher-ups discussing positioning each member, emphasizing solos, burying others, and the worst, an email chain titled Benefit Balance Strategy, Magne line with Jungkook's name flagged, marked as a marketable dependent. A brand, not a person. The world had loved BTS. But the industry had played them like chess pieces that, as public perception shifted, some fans opening their eyes, others turning more vicious. Mirror Nation struck again. This time it was Taehyung. Photos leaked. Private photos. Old messages from years ago, twisted out of context. Accusations that he had manipulated Jungkook, played savior for attention. That he was obsessed, controlling. Jungkook watched his best friend get swallowed by the same tide that almost drowned him. And he knew, if they didn't end this now, it would break them forever. They made a choice. Find Namjoon, confront him, end Mirror Nation, together or not. Yoongi gave them coordinates, a secluded house in Jeollanam-do. No internet, no cell service, just silence and trees. The journey was long, quiet. The three of them didn't speak much. Jungkook, Taehyung, and Yoongi, all seated in the car like men driving toward a ghost. When they reached the house, the front door was unlocked. Inside, it was dim, clean, lived in, books stacked in corners, a guitar, a notebook on the desk, open to a page that simply said, "Truth isn't pure, it's blood-stained." Then, footsteps, and there he was, Kim Namjoon, older, thinner, beard grown in, eyes sunken, but bright with something electric, like he hadn't slept in months, but had finally found the clarity he needed. "You came," he said softly. Jungkook stepped forward, his voice cracking. "Hyungwhy?" Namjoon smiled. "Not cruel, not warm, just tired. To save you from what we built." Namjoon reveals his hidden war against the machine he once helped build, and forces Jungkook to choose truth at all costs or loyalty that bleeds. "You remember what it felt like back then?" Namjoon asked, his voice low, nearly swallowed by the creaking wood of the old house. Jungkook said nothing. Taehyung stood at his side, arms crossed tightly, eyes burning holes into the floorboards. Yoongi lingered near the doorway, the only exit, as if ready to bolt or defend, maybe both. Namjoon looked between them. That feeling in 2020 when we were at the top, but none of us could breathe. It wasn't just fame, he continued. It was being turned into avatars. Puppets. You smiled on stage, Jungkook, and they told me to tell you to smile more. That it tested better with fans. His voice caught. You weren't a person anymore. You were a product. Jungkook's jaw clenched. So you vanished? Built a cult of digital chaos to burn everything down? To humiliate us in front of the world? Namjoon's laugh was sharp and bitter. You think I wanted this? He stepped closer, pushing the old notebook into Jungkook's chest. Read it. Jungkook flipped it open. Inside were pages and pages of research, logs, message histories, screen caps. But deeper in it changed. Letters, drafts of apologies, lines of poetry. I lit the fire not to burn you, but the hands holding your strings. If I kill the lie, maybe you'll be free, even if you hate me forever. Taehyung finally spoke. His voice was ice. You turned our fans against each other. Against us. Namjoon met his gaze. No, I showed them the truth. They chose how to react. Yoongi stepped forward then, his voice heavier than ever. And now, what? You made your point. Everything's fractured. Are you satisfied? Namjoon turned to the window, looking out into the trees. Not yet, he said. Jungkook felt his stomach twist. What's left? Namjoon didn't turn around. HYB is going to announce a full reboot of BTS next week. With AI clones. With scrub personas. No opinions. Just algorithms. Silence, what? Taehyung whispered. They've been planning it for over a year. A sanitized, controllable version of us. Every expression approved by software. Mirror Nation was their testing ground. Now it's the rollout. Yoongi's face went pale. You have proof. Namjoon nodded. Everything's on the drive. But leaking it means war. It'll destroy careers. Maybe even the company. You'll be blacklisted, exiled. But it might also save what little is left of the real us. Jungkook's mind raced. If they leaked it, it wouldn't just expose the truth that IT would set the entire industry on fire. You're asking me to kill everything we built, Jungkook said. No, Namjoon whispered. I'm asking you to choose. They sat in silence that night, each man with a different war raging inside him. Taehyung stared into the fire. Yoongi smoked on the porch. Jungkook sat alone with the drive in his hand, remembering the cheers of a million fans, the look in his mother's eyes after his first award, the way the guys had held him after his solo debut. Could he destroy that? To protect its meaning? His phone buzzed. A message from a number he didn't recognize. They're watching. If you leak it, you all fall. But if you don't, you'll never stand again. He looked out at the darkness, and for the first time, he truly didn't know which choice would break him more. Jungkook leaks the truth, and all hell breaks loose. As the world watches BTS burn, a devastating betrayal sends one member over the edge. The file was uploaded at 3:06 a.m. Seoul time, and fanfare. No announcement. Just a link buried in an anonymous post on a message board rarely visited, except by those who knew where to look. Within 15 minutes, it had crossed borders. Within 30, it was on every major news outlet. And by dawn, it was too late to take back. The leak was live. A 6.2 gigabytes archive titled The BTS Prototype Project. Internal documents. HYBE Corporation Confidential inside. PowerPoint decks. Voice recordings from closed-door meetings. Graphs tracking social manipulation performance. Mock-ups of the AI-generated new BTS rollout. Virtual idols based on Jungkook, Taehyung, and the others. A coded manual labeled Fanbase Sentiment Control. MirrorNet operations. And the worst, video. A hidden camera recording of a top executive laughing. Once the AI hit stage 1, we won't need tantrums, scandals, or egos. Just faces. Perfect, predictable faces. The fandom imploded. Hashtag RealBTS trended globally alongside hashtag HYBExposed and hashtag MirrorNationIsReal. Shock gave way to grief, then to rage. But not all of it was aimed at HYB. Some came for them. For Jungkook, for Taehyung, for Yoongi, for betraying the machine they'd helped build. Why now? Why didn't you tell us sooner? You're just trying to stay relevant. You're ruining BTS legacy. And in the middle of the firestorm, the system struck back. The morning after the leak, HYB sued Jungkook. Personally, breach of contract, defamation, data theft. He sat frozen in his apartment, the lawsuit trembling in his hand, Taehyung pacing behind him. This is war, Tae said quietly. No, Jungkook murmured. This is execution. Hyung's gone again, Taehyung added. Yoongi said he left last night. No trafe. Jungkook clenched his jaw. Of course he did. The betrayal stung more than the lawsuit. Namjoon had promised they'd do this together. That if they burned, they'd burn as one up, but he was gone. Again, that evening, Jungkook went live. Not on Weverse, not on YouTube. Just a grainy stream on an anonymous platform, his face half-shadowed. I don't know if I did the right thing, he said to 2.6 million live viewers. But I know silence would have been worse. He paused. They built a machine out of our faces. I'm not afraid to be hated for trying to stop it. I'm only afraid of waking up and realizing I became part of it. Then the message came at a single line from Yoongi, encrypted. It's not over. HYBE has footage they haven't released of Taehyung. If they do, it'll destroy him. Jungkook dropped the phone. What kind of footage? Yoongi replied. It's a conversation. 2021, during the hiatus. He said things that'll be twisted. Spoon. You know how they do it. Jungkook looked at Taehyung, curled up on the couch, half asleep from exhaustion, that he knew what this meant. They would sacrifice Taehyung next. Make him the villain. Distract the world. Break BTS from the inside with one final nail. And this time, Jungkook didn't hesitate. He grabbed his keys. The HYBE building was locked down. Cameras everywhere. Security doubled. But Jungkook didn't care. He wasn't sneaking in. He was going to walk in. He stormed the lobby, ignored the shouts, the orders to leave. He took the elevator straight up to the executive floor, swiped a stolen card Yoongi had left for him. The door to the archive room opened with a hiss. Inside, rows of servers blinked like soulless stars. And there it was. The file. vth_convo_2021_private_archive. He pulled the drive, and behind him a voice. I didn't think you had it in you, golden boy. Jungkook turned, Bang Si-hyuk, smiling. Cold, unbothered. You're too late, he said. We've already queued the release. Once the world hears what he said about you, about all of you, it's over. Jungkook's heart thundered. I'm not letting you destroy him. Bang Si-hyuk stepped closer. You already did. The tape is leaked. BTS falls apart under a tidal wave of betrayal. But when one of them disappears, Jungkook must risk everything to bring him back, or lose him forever. The video dropped at 4:00 p.m. a shaky recording. 2021. Taehyung alone in a dim-lit room, voice low, face tired. Sometimes I wonder if Jungkook even wants to be here. Maybe he shines because we protect him. Maybe we've all been living inside his spotlight too long. Clipped, cropped, twisted. In truth, the full conversation was hours long, a therapy session. Words pulled from context. Pain, not malice. Love, not resentment. But the world didn't care about nuance. Headlines exploded. Taehyung exposes Jungkook's fame as manufactured. BTS fractures. V speaks the truth. Jungkook's name trended with hate. Again, but worse, Taehyung vanished, phone off. No last message, no trace. And when Yoongi found the note Taehyung left in his apartment, Jungkook's blood ran cold. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it that way. I didn't know how to carry all of you anymore. The search went on for 2 days. Point 3. The fandom was in chaos. Some blamed Jungkook. Some blamed the company. Some blamed themselves. And then, ping. Yoongi traced his last known location to a cliffside hours outside Seoul. Jungkook drove without stopping. Rain slammed the windshield. His heart raced faster with every kilometer. When he reached the edge, he saw him, Taehyung, sitting at the brink, soaked to the bone, staring into the void. Jungkook ran. Tae. No, answered. He grabbed his arm. Taehyung flinched but didn't move. I didn't mean it, he said finally. Voice hollow. I was tired. I was scared. But I never stopped loving you. Any of you. Jungkook sank to his knees beside him. I know, and I'm sorry I didn't protect you. The silence stretched, broken only by the wind. Then Taehyung spoke, quieter than ever. Do you think we can come back from this? Jungkook looked at him, really looked, and smiled for the first time in weeks. Not as idols. Maybe not even as BTS. He reached out. But his brothers? Always. They went quiet after that. In official statements. No interviews, just disappeared. The world speculated. HYBE spiraled. Stock crashed. Mirror Nation collapsed as whistleblowers stepped forward. The fandom fractured but also evolved. Some left. Some stayed. Some finally began listening. And months later, in a quiet forest in Busan, a small crowd gathered. No lights. No stage. Just Jungkook, Taehyung, Yoongi, and Namjoon, guitars in hand. Faces open. Music raw. Not for fame, not for money, just for truth, just for healing, just for them. The real BTS.